that time. In fact, it's actually past that time, isn't it?
Yes.
So I suppose we should go live some point in time.
And
Anybody
we
know?
have.
Oh, look at that. Never mind.
This is the pre-show. Whoa.
Show, whoa, yeah.
ShamWow?
Show, whoa, whoa.
Whoa. I have to wait for the show to start, even though it started, before I
Show,
can select
whoa,
the
whoa,
question.
whoa.
Well, shall we
Yes.
show?
You know, since you put it that way.
Let's do a podcast.
Pogcast?
A podcast.
Okay, here we go. Well, you found us. It's Thursday evening. Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. We're going to talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So grab a piece of cake and a spork. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
That's right, and since I'm not here alone this week, it's time to bring in our well-traveled monkey. Some say he's found more Earth caches than have ever been placed, and others, well, the others say he's won a staring contest with an owl. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Sorry, I was busy staring at an owl. Hey, thanks very much. And again, listeners, welcome to the show. And those who are listening and viewing live, thank you so much for making us a very special part of your Thursday evening. Or thank you very much for making us a very ordinary part of your Thursday evening. Either way, we appreciate that you're here. And so much so do we appreciate that we want to make some special thank yous. Bad cop. Whoops. You know what? Force of habit. I got to stop doing that.
Yes, thank you. We'll talk about that in a bit, but we want to thank our Denali level supporters. That's Limax and the Mount Vernon Parks and Recs Department. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, click on the Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website. Now, tonight we're going to talk about Milestones. Milestones.
Oh, then I can take this off from around my neck.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
Right. Okay.
But before we get going, let's start glowing.
Ooh, glowing. Well, glowing is something that we call this segment of the show GLOW, or Geocaching Log of the Week. And whether you wrote it or not, whether or not you wrote it, we want to hear about it. So send an email to feedback@cachingandw.com or call it in to 253-693-TFTC, or you could even use the voicemail tool on our website and show us how you glow.
Yeah, and I've heard that voicemail tool is really cool.
It
It's a
is.
cool tool. It's too cool for school, which started yesterday. But anyway, our glow of the week, geocaching log of the week. Glow of the week is rather redundant, isn't it? It's like GNU's not
It is.
Unix. This one comes from friend of the podcast and listener Sprouter, who found Multicache 2001, a cache odyssey. And he writes, what a better way to end the day than with an epic multicache with hashtag Team Squirrel, consisting of Bronco Fan for Life and Fat Bald Guy. He said, we were driving back from Oregon completing 2 coin challenges, and I noticed that I was really close to my 6,000th find. Since I needed a multi-cache for that milestone, we started searching the area for a multi with high favorite points. This cache fit the bill, considering it had 61 favorite points and it has only been active since April of this year. We arrived around 10 p.m. local, and the local business was still pretty busy. We found the first waypoint and, well, proceeded to get to work. After talking with Hal for a while, we finally arrived at the final, which I heard was an obelisk. All aspects of the cache make it worth a milestone. I'm glad to have made this cache number 6,000 because truly, I will always remember it. Again, great cache, signed log, and, well, thanks for the cache. Oh, and P.S. he writes, it's now time for the shameless plug. I know this log doesn't necessarily qualify as an epic log or a machine log, but I hope to get the glow geocaching log of the week from the Caching in the Northwest podcast guys. CachingNW.com, by the way. Plus, it would be great to get this cache out there on the interwebs so that more cachers in the Northwest are more aware this cache is out there. Ends shameless plug.
How nice. Now, without the shameless plug, I would have put this on the show just simply because he reached his 6,000 geocache.
That's incredible.
That's quite impressive.
I'm on schedule to hit that in the next 25 years or so.
Yeah, well, there's no reason you shouldn't.
Actually, no, more like 65 years or so. But anyway.
I wondered why Sprouter needed a multicache for his 6,000th find. So I messaged him using the geocache messenger.
Ooh.
And he replied that there is a challenge out there to get a different icon for each milestone. So,
okay.
There you go. That's why he needed a multicache.
But isn't every cache a milestone?
Yes. I have never found cache 2,143 before.
That's right.
And I will never find it again unless somebody deletes a log.
Well, and you can certainly continue to use that logic, but I don't know that it's going to be officially supported by too many others.
It's probably not the spirit of that challenge. Huh?
No.
Okay.
But it's a nice thought.
And we do like our spirits.
Yeah,
That's different. That's different.
That's right. Now, a little housekeeping. Remember that Google is merging Hangouts on Air with YouTube Live on September 12th.
I've heard that.
Looks like YouTube or Q&A will be replaced with YouTube Chat. We're playing with that a bit, so stay tuned. We don't want to lose any of these great comments along here that I'm looking at right now because, obviously if you're listening to this live, you know that I'm looking at the comments.
So that means, Chris, that means we are going to have one more of these episodes in this same format that people are experiencing it in tonight.
Yes.
Before we are forced to change.
Exactly.
Okay.
Kicking and screaming, we are forced to change.
Yes. Change is good.
And Limax wants to know, is it Thursday already? I kind of thought that today myself. Wow, Thursday.
And this week went by fast.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, there is definitely much to wonder about, and as Chris said, stay tuned. We don't want you to miss any of these upcoming episodes, regardless of how our technology changing goes. But we will work through it, and we will work through it with your support. But on to some other news, moving away from our housekeeping and into some newskeeping. We have a couple of birthdays to celebrate tonight. Well, I think some of us were celebrating a birthday on the weekend.
I don't know who that could be.
All right. Well, maybe we'll talk about that.
I don't remember it.
Maybe we'll talk about that in the segment that comes after the normal show.
After show.
That's the one.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
I actually thought our host there was reaching for the button, but he was actually reaching for a glass of water. He messed me up. Yeah, thanks.
Who says it's water?
All right. Anyways.
Well, what other birthdays might there be this week?
Well, thank you. August 30th, 15 years ago, geocaching.com founder Jeremy Irish activated the world's first trackable.
Cool.
Now, I'm not sure. He must have had it set up on the site at that point in time, because how else would he activate it?
Yeah.
And immediately after placing that trackable in a cache, it went missing, never to be seen again.
And, many long-time
Isn't that true of all?
Yeah, I was going to say, many long-time caches can relate with that experience.
Yeah, so the pattern was set right from number one.
Absolutely.
This is what you do with a trackable. You put it in a geocache and say goodbye. All right. So that is the first of the birthdays we're going to talk about tonight.
And on others, on September 2nd, which for some of you listening to this podcast, it's September 2nd right now. For some of you, it's September 2nd tomorrow. And for some of you, it's September 2nd, well, a week, a month, a year ago, depending on when you're listening to this recording. But as we record this right at this moment, September 2nd is tomorrow for us. And on September 2nd of 2016, the website geocaching.com will be 16 years old. Looks like, well, it looks like it's in those troubling teenage years. And it probably has a learner's permit for driving now, right?
Oh, yeah. Driving
However,
traffic.
yeah, it is driving traffic. It sees a lot of traffic, in fact. And, you know, Jeremy Irish, well, he realized that geocaching.com's traffic would quickly outgrow the website he'd started as a hobby site. So in 2000, he partnered with two coworkers, Elias Albert and Brian Roth, to start a new company. With the proceeds from selling 144 geocaching t-shirts, that's gross.
That is gross.
They began to scale the website to keep up with its growing audience. The three founders continued working at their day jobs while managing the website on the side.
So did anybody tell them to keep their day jobs?
I'm sure several people did. And I don't know this for a fact, but I just have a hunch that at least one of their mothers did. However, 16 years later, Geocaching HQ remains a strong, independent organization on a mission to enable adventure, exploration, and discovery.
Well, I'm going to interject and just say I'm glad they didn't keep their day jobs because from what I've experienced in person and a lot of articles I've read, it is actually one of the better run companies in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's usually one of the top 100 companies in the nation.
For employers, like places to work. Yeah.
Places to work, a great place. And
in the Q&A, Dan Camp says, with a 16-year-old, their insurance is going to go up.
That's exactly right. I was going to read that exact comment.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah. So in 2016 alone, not to mention the prior 15 years, here's what you geocachers have made happen. 1,560,957 geocachers found at least one geocache. So I'm in good company there.
There you go.
2,757,335 geocaches were logged. 374,674 new geocaches were placed.
And not all of them were light post caches.
No, not all. And, not all of them were logged probably either, as we know, but that's a whole other story. 23,449 geocaching events occurred, and, well, we had one of those recently. And 39,575 geocachers helped clean up the planet at Saito, whatever you want to call it, events. Cash in, trash out.
That's very cool. I was thinking when you were reading some of those numbers, 2,757,335 geocaches were logged. That is a lot of log entries, a lot of SQL statements in the database that's sitting at the back end. And the other thought that went through my mind was, so there's probably about 2,750,000 TFTCs.
Yeah.
Are you saying there's only like 7,000 logs worth reading out of the 2.7 million?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Well, for 2016 specifically, there were 374 new geocaches. So while there could have been 2.7 million FTFs, I don't think they all happened this year.
No, not FTFs, just TFTCs. Like
TFTCs. Okay.
Non-glow-worthy logs.
That's right.
So, our loyal listeners, there's 7,000 glow-worthy logs out there that we estimate that you should be able to go find.
Yeah, go get them.
Submit.
Yeah,
Send
or
those.
write them.
Of course, write them.
Author them yourself.
One of them was authored just this very week, the one we read earlier in the show.
Way to go, Sprouter!
6,000!
6,999 to go!
Yeah. He probably found a good majority of those geocaches that were logged.
Yeah, he probably did. He's a very active cacher.
Speaking of logged, and this time it's more waterlogged,
Uh-oh.
InReach plays a critical role in rescuing canoe full of campers in Washington. I thought this was an interesting story. Every summer, 25-foot wood and canvas canoes built by the Old Town Canoe Company in the 1920s and 30s take campers on a multi-day trip through the San Juan Islands. These are not your standard canoes, but much larger. They take 6 to 10 people to paddle.
Wow.
And it's an extraordinary way for a group of young people to explore these islands under human power, only able to get to the next campsite if they work together. So on June 29th, not that long ago, one of these canoes swamped on the last day of a 3-day trip with 7 13-year-old boys aboard and 2 staff. Shortly after leaving Point Dowdery, they got caught parallel to a set of 2 to 3 foot high rolling waves. 2 rollers put in about ankle deep water into the canoe, and they began to bail it out. The third one, a larger wave, completely swamped the boat. And sitting upright in the swamp boat, the trip leader went to his training. Very good to have training.
Yeah.
Judging it too far to swim to shore, he had the boys turn the boat upside down. I found this interesting. And pull their bodies on top of it. It kept the group together, provided flotation beyond the PFDs that all the boys were wearing, and kept the boys' bodies partially out of the cold water. Once the boys were stable on the overturned boat, the trip leader dug into his waterproof emergency bag. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. What have we told you time and again on this podcast? Be prepared. And that's really why I picked this story. So in this waterproof bag, there were 5 communication devices: a cell phone, a VHF radio, a DeLorme inReach, flares, and an air horn. That redundancy in systems proved useful because only 3 of the 5 communication devices proved useful. The cell phone got wet and didn't work, and the flares malfunctioned. I'm going to take another break here. I'm going to say that waterproof emergency bag wasn't necessarily waterproof.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Because the flares malfunctioned. I assume they were wet, and the cell phone was wet. So it's just kind of funny that it's a waterproof bag and these things got wet. Back to the story. The trip leader and the counselor began hailing for help via VHF, the inReach, and the air horn. Throughout this entire period, the boys were in good spirits, making jokes and remarking on the oddity of their circumstances. Hearing help that was on the way was calming.
Well, and no disparity towards the inReach or the air horn, but radio for the win.
Yeah. Actually, it was the inReach that got the win on this one.
Okay.
We don't know what happened on the radio. A Coast Guard helicopter was dispatched and hovered above the canoe. The boys were brought to the West Beach Resort, where dozens of Orcas fire and rescue EMTs were waiting. Some of the boys were exhibiting signs of mild hypothermia, namely shivering. They were given blankets, snacks, and hot chocolate. It sounded like a party.
You know, I started to giggle for a moment because I misread that article, and I thought it said the boys were brought to West Beach Resort where dozens of orcas were waiting.
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't going to end well at all. Why are we telling this story?
It ends great if you're an orca.
Yeah. And we saved many whales that day, my friend.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Please continue to the positive ending of the actual story.
Orca being Orcas Island. It's Orcas, not Orcas. I don't know what the difference is. But anyway, they were in good shape within a few minutes of arriving on shore. So, I just want to stress again that when you're going out, even on a simple day trip, take more than you think you need because emergency situations arise and your waterproof bag may not be as waterproof as you think it is.
That's right.
Absolutely.
IHAM says maybe they were orca chow.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking when I read that. All right.
And Limax says, yay, radio.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, on the topic of rescuing folks and possibly radio and definitely emergency situations, we found a news story that was on the local media up here in the southwest of Canada, and I thought was really interesting and worth sharing to our listeners. And it is that the North Shore Rescue is taking a record number of calls this year. That volunteer-based organization, one of the favorites of the hosts of this show, They are always looking for ways to manage the growing number of calls. This year, they have responded to a record number of calls, and they're looking for ways to manage increased workload that it has put on their volunteers. They have responded to 95 calls so far in 2016 as of last Wednesday. That is 5 more than the same period in 2015.
Wow.
And the year's not over. So, they're going to have a record number of calls, and last year was already a record number for them. So the question is it sustainable if it continues to increase at this rate? And folks from North Shore Search and Rescue have said that they actually don't know. They don't know if it's going to be sustainable. What they can say is that their team is meeting in September, and they're going to talk about the increase in call volume and things that they can do to try and hopefully lighten the load. One of the things is continuing to encourage people that if they go out on the local trails, as many tourists and others who are naive to the dangers in the backcountry do, to most importantly, research the trip before heading out on the hike. Now, it's important to remember that most of North Shore Search and Rescue's operating budget does come from public donations, so if you have the opportunity to donate to that and other SAR organizations, please do. We never hope to have to use them, but we sure are glad they are there when we need to. One of the things that NSR does not want to do is see a pay-for-use model where people will have to cough up money for their own rescues. They said what happens is people will try to self-rescue, and in self-rescuing they're going to delay calling for actual help, and they're more likely to get themselves into a more treacherous terrain or a bigger problem.
Yeah.
And they are strongly against that. So again, interesting problem to have. Obviously, there's more. We did have some great weather. There are more people out in the backcountry, therefore, more people looking for help. But, we can drop those numbers if people are just going out more prepared. And being prepared not only means to take the right equipment with you, the InReach, the radio, the flares, whatever it is, that first aid kits, etc., the 10 essentials that we've talked about before, but to do a little bit of research about where you're going. Don't just randomly pick a trail and go until it's dark and then do that. Oh, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a great point. Do some research and know where you're going and what you're going to be up against. It's great to bring stuff to be prepared, to bring the ambulance at the bottom of the valley, but the fence at the top of the cliff is a great resource too. So. Yes. And not only will you maybe keep yourself alive and all, but, you'll lighten the load on the search and rescue people that are primarily volunteers.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I wanted to share that story. 2 reasons. First of all, just to remind folks that your search and rescue organizations always need your support, whether it's actual volunteering or financial support for their operations. And secondly, that we can unburden those financial responsibilities by being more responsible before we go out.
Very good.
Hey, in the Q&A, Three Hands in a Row says, I just arrived, what did I miss? So I want to say...
everything.
Welcome to Caching in the Northwest, the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great... No, never mind. Go back and watch the episode later. However, let's move on to other stories.
Please do.
Well, Three Hands, you can just catch up, okay? You're on your own. Here is a post from the Cachers of the Puget Sound Facebook group, led to the entry geocaching code GC2W0NX, called Trade-ins Wanted. And this was a log, if I remember right. It was just a...
this is a log.
This was a post.
So it's glow-worthy.
It is glow-worthy. It says, so I only found out about geocaching in July 2015, but we came out to this forested area back in 2011 to say goodbye to our sweet, mischievous dog, Max. Moment of silence for Max. Okay. On our way back to the car, my son found this Tupperware sandwich box with Matchbox cars in it and brought it home. Anybody know where this is going? Log reads, the post says, I didn't remember a logbook, but there it sat when I was looking through a box of old drawings today. My son used the rest of the logbook to draw 6-year-old art. I apologize for muggling the cache. I've been playing for a year, and I appreciate all the hard work that goes into maintaining these little treasure boxes. And we saw a picture of the log sheet on the post. It was good. So I didn't even know about geocaching, and here they muggled a cache and didn't even know it.
That's funny. So this is also maybe a bit of a throwback to the earlier story about the first trackables.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I just found it ironic that now they're a geocacher and they found the log and now they realize what that was.
Yeah.
You go, well, who would steal it? What, 6-year-old boy finds
Yeah.
a sandwich box full of Matchbox cars? Yeah, he's going to bring it home.
Yeah. I'm not 6 years old, and I might take it home.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's some great news stories. And speaking of news and other stories, how was this past week in geocaching for you, fine gentlemen?
Well, on this weekend, last weekend, was the final weekend for the Mission GC souvenirs.
It was.
If you decoded the semaphore properly, you figured out that you had to go find a mystery or a puzzle cache.
Oh, you gave it away.
It's already happened. They can't get it now. Well, I guess they could.
Let's not encourage people to cheat.
Okay. Anyway, I actually went out and found 2 just to make sure that all my bases were covered
make sure
there.
they stuck.
Hmm?
Just to make sure it sticks, right?
Yeah, exactly. And went out with Wits End and the Camp Clan after a certain event.
Oh, do tell.
Wits End, what event was that?
What event was that? Well, it was this binary event of 110010 or something of that nature, which translates to 50. 50!
50 what?
Somebody on the podcast that's not a monkey or a wits had a birthday.
Ooh, that's a short list.
Like
and we don't even
Wits.
Yeah, and we don't even know exactly who that was because, well, he's no longer the bad cop.
What?
That's right. Wits End said it so well at the party. We have such a great admiration and respect for law enforcement that with all the negative media attention turning towards law enforcement right now, I just couldn't go on with the name The Bad Cop. So I decided a name change was in order, and I am now Chris of the NorthWest.
There you go.
There you go.
Which you might abbreviate as, well, CNW.
You might. If it was, say, a nano log and it didn't have room to write all these words.
Yeah, the full backstory there is that, well, Chris, formerly known as the Bad Cop, and I work together and often take up kind of a good cop, bad cop relationship with people that come need IT support help, as you may have watched movies and know what good cop, bad cop relationships are. So that's where it came from. Never had meant any disparaging things against law enforcement, and just to make sure that none of that ever was confused in the future, well, Chris decided to lay that title, that geocaching handle down, and pick up this new one.
So there you go. Now, that's kind of what we did this weekend. Land Monkey, did you do anything interesting this week?
Well, last week I went to Alaska.
You're in Canada. You're almost there.
Well, but I couldn't quite see Russia from my house, so I had to go a little further north.
Okay.
However, yes, we finally went on the long-awaited Landsharks geocaching cruise. We were on with about 50 other geocachers on this cruise to Alaska. It was so much fun. We met so many new people. Hopefully some of them may even possibly be listening to the show, which would be fantastic.
No way.
I have to shamelessly say, well, not unashamedly say that I shamelessly promoted the podcast. So, because that's how I roll.
Well, welcome to any of you that might be out there tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, if this is your first podcast, or if you recently started listening to this podcast and started a whole bunch of episodes earlier and have just gotten to this episode, this is the episode. This is the point in time. This is now. Now?
Now.
Yeah. Are we playing the video to catch up?
That's right.
Okay.
All right, so that's a little Spaceballs reference there for those who maybe didn't get that. Anyways, so we had a great time. The cruise was amazing. Got to really thank the folks at Land Sharks for organizing it and all the hard work they put in for at least a year to get that cruise organized and get everybody ready. And man, we had fun. And
There's more?
but wait, there's more. So that was a hashtag geocache road trip of a sort because we did actually.
Boat trip?
Well, there were roads involved on some of these shore excursions. But as well, we found cache milestone number 9,000 on that.
Yay!
trip.
9,000. Holy cow.
That's like 6,000 upside down.
Possibly. Well, no, 6,000 upside down is 9 with 3 leading zeros.
Only if you flip it rotationally.
Okay,
you
I
flip
see
it-
what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Pivot. All right. So, yes, geocache find number 9,000 at the Mendenhall Glacier. So that was
What kind of cache was find number 9,000?
it was an Earth cache.
Really?
Yeah.
And that means he has found now every Earth cache ever listed.
Or at least
No.
9,000 of them.
No, that's silly. Anyways, no, we found lots of caches. We had a really good time. But what was awesome is that even though we did do a lot of geocaching on the cruise, we also did a lot of other stuff and met so many cool people. We actually have some audio that we're going to play on some future episodes, and we're going to share that with you guys to listen to some of the interviews that I did with some of the other folks, some of the audio I took on the boat deck just for fun as we were as the ship itself was right beside a glacier that was dipping into the ocean. Just really an amazing
Was the
experience.
glacier calving?
Yes, the glacier actually calved while we were there, which was, again, super cool. But we'll talk about that on a later episode. We are actually going to have the Land Sharks come on in a couple of weeks and talk to us about that cruise and their experiences around that cruise, as well as upcoming cruises that they might be doing. So that's going to
I
be
love it.
that'll be
Those land sharks, they're nice people.
Yeah.
They are nice people, and in fact, they're so nice. Listeners of this podcast.
Well, how nice are they?
Well, let's just say that starting tonight, you guys who are listening, you have 3 weeks now, starting tonight, to email us with the name of one of the ports on the 2017 Land Sharks geocaching cruise, and you could win a prize thanks to the Land Sharks.
Wait a minute, 2017, that hasn't happened yet. How do you know the future?
The internets will tell you the future. If you go to travel.landsharks, and that's landsharkz.ca, you go to that website and just take a look at their 2017 geocaching cruise. We just need you to tell us the name. Just pick one of the ports that cruise is going to go to. Email it to us here on the podcast, and you will be auto-magically entered to win one of the limited edition Alaskan Cruise GeoCoin and or TB tags. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to have the Land Sharks, Hal and Chris, on the show. They're going to discuss the Alaskan Cruise. We're going to discuss a little bit of upcoming cruises. And they are going to announce the winner from the entries that we had. So we're really excited to put on this contest in cooperation with the wonderful people at the Land Sharks due to their generosity of providing the prizes. So it's going to be fun. So get your butts into that contest.
You better believe it.
All right.
Nice. In the Q&A, Limax wants us to spell it phonetically.
No.
No. Lima, Alpha, November, Delta, Sierra, Hotel, Alpha, Romeo, Kilo, Zulu.
Very good.
Yay, see?
.ca.
That Charlie Alpha.
.ca.
It's .c, eh?
Oh, yeah.
But it is important to actually do the
You gotta do travel,
travel.landsharks.ca. And that's where you will find the answer to this. I mean, this is an easy contest, and it is a super cool prize. And if you check my social media channels, A little later this week, you will actually see what those prizes look like. I'm going to post them now that we've announced the contest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, super cool. And you had to be on the cruise to get it. So, incredibly, I want to say rare, but inaccessible for most people. So, this is going to put you in an elite club with the likes of the land monkeys.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
And the land monkeys are pretty elite.
Yes, they found every Earth cache possible.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I thought we were just elitist, but okay.
Now that 9,000th cache,
Yeah.
where were you when you made the find?
We were at the Mendenhall Glacier, which is outside of Juneau, or Yes.
Were you on land or in the water?
We were on land.
Oh, okay. I know there. I was probing because I know there was an Earth cache you did while on the boat.
Yes, that was in Glacier Bay, which is much further north. But this glacier was actually it's in a national park outside of Juneau, about 20 minutes outside of Juneau.
Okay. I thought that was the one. I apologize then.
Oh no, quite all right. No need to apologize. And I'm looking forward to sharing that story as well about Earth caching from the back deck of the ship. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, he's found so many Earth caches that it's hard for us mere mortals to keep track of them all. So it's understandable that you might get confused.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. And no, it was not a glacial erratic.
Did somebody mention that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Limax just asked
Limax.
that.
Aren't physical glaciers a bit of an erratic?
No, they're not, but they carry erratics. But the cool thing is that around here you find so many glacial erratics and Earth caches about glacial erratics. But to actually go and do Earth caches at the glaciers themselves is a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we've got there.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. And, let's move ourselves back here. We're talking about milestones. So, yeah, that's where we found our 9,000th milestone. But we did have some feedback. I had some feedback on Facebook. I asked the question out there to anybody who follows us about, hey, have you found any milestones recently? And we did have some feedback that I wanted to share on the show from listener and friend of the show and previous guest on the show, Subway Mark. So Subway Mark shares, I hit hashtag 30. Oh, sorry, number 3,500.
The number in this case.
Just having some fun. He hit number 3,500, so 3,500 cache finds on July 3rd. That was memorable.
That's right.
He says, we were doing the Gold Country Geo Tour up in BC. All right,
awesome.
Way to go. One of my favorite Geo Tours. Gold Country Geo Tour in BC. The cache was GC 3P BCN, so 3 Peanut Butter Channel Network.
Ooh.
That's the Gold Country Epsom Salt Lake.
I was thinking that was peanut butter chocolate nugget, but okay.
I think you're right. That's what it is. And I just said the wrong cache. It's Gold Country Epsom Last Spike. My apologies. So Gold Country Epsom Last Spike. It says, after finding the access road, we drove down to the spot. What a great view. And it was a railroad-themed cache,
Nice.
which I try to make all of my 100 caches. I was treated to a CP, Canadian Pacific, train going past later on. He does have a photo included, which we'll share with you guys later in the show notes, of where they parked. And he was thinking, I should send this photo to Kia as a, look where your Kia can take you.
Very
which
nice.
is great. But
it's
Nice.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it is a fantastic photo. Really nice photo, and that's a great geocache, and so glad you're able to make one of your milestones up in one of my absolute favorite series of caches. So right on, Subway Mark.
It's on my list of places I need to go cache someday, so maybe someday I'll be able to hit that exact cache. But I was going to say, a little trivia note, if I remember correctly, and, well, correct me if I'm wrong, he mentioned that they were up there on July 3rd, and as most of our listeners know, that's Well, it's right around the United States Independence Day of July 4th, and I believe he mentioned that they have canine family members that go a little bonkers with all the fireworks around the United States, and so they look for places to get out of the country.
Yes.
And so that was one of the reasons they did the geo tour on that particular weekend or time frame.
That's correct. I remember sharing that story. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we have more feedback. This one comes from the Gladiators. We were sitting at 3,894 finds at the beginning of the year. We set the goal for reaching 5,000 cache finds before the year was out. We reached that on July 18th while holidaying in Montana. We are currently sitting at 5,773 finds and think that maybe 6,000 may be achieved before the year is out.
Wow.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's certainly doable. That's great. Congratulations to the Gladiators. The next milestone we'd like to share is from, well, 3 Hems and a Rose, listener and friend of the show. He says, yep, hit find number 4,000 on International Geocaching Day, which, as we all know, was just a couple of days ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. He says, I also had fun on my last road trip pushing up some of my badge gen stats to hit Diamond for letterboxes, 50, Ruby for Where I Go, 15, Ruby for 5 of 5 with 8, and Platinum for Virtuals with 30. He also adds in the Q&A tonight, listening live, commenting on LandMonkey's 9,000th find on the cruise. He said LandMonkey was deliberately not joining me this summer geocaching hikes just to ensure he could hit 9,000 in Alaska instead of logging a micro in a tree as number 9,000. Or that's at least what his excuse was for not joining me. And I have to say, if that was your excuse, well played, sir.
Thank you. It wasn't an excuse. It was what I did.
It's not an excuse if it's true, right?
Exactly.
Another listener, handle of Keats94, says just past 6,600. Not much of a milestone, but it's a round number, lol.
Very nice. Yeah, Keats94.
The 6s are
great
very
picture.
round numbers. Except at the top, they're a little pointy there.
Well, a little
The
bit.
zeros are rounded.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, hey, and in the Q&A, we heard from Limax. Surprise, surprise. And Limax says in the Q&A, I should be at 2001 sometime later this year. So I don't know if that means that he's thinking about perhaps going after that cache that was mentioned earlier in the store.
That's true. He has a habit of going after numeric finds that relate to a specific date in history or event or whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that he does unique milestones.
Yeah.
He also said, after I'm finished with my Golden State Tour milestones, I'll need to find some other unique milestones. Very cool.
I bet there's some unique milestones, well, right here in the Northwest.
I bet.
Come on up.
Nice. And Wet Coaster says in the Q&A that Green Words found 600 this past weekend in Whistler.
Awesome. Congratulations, Green
Whistle
Word.
while you cache?
Oh, could be.
No, Whistler.
Oh, no, Whistler, like as in British Columbia.
As in the ski resort area.
Yes. You're silly.
Yes, of course I am. Let's see.
Oh, dear. Anything else?
I think that's it from the Q&A. Limax says, I just found my next milestone. Oh, so
nice.
he's got a challenge set up already for himself.
There you go.
Die Monkey says hit number 2,000 when they were in Port Orchard for Dead Men Tell No Tales, which I believe Chris of the Northwest, formerly known as something else, attended that event.
Yes, and met up with him there.
That's
very cool. Well, congratulations,
We
Die
attended
Monkey.
an odd event in midday. It's just simply being called the odd event.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds like a good discussion for the after show.
So, congratulations. Milestones everywhere.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who has either contributed through the Q&A or written in through Facebook or other social media to share your milestone stories with us. And we're really happy to be able to share them on the podcast. And congratulations to everybody.
Yes. So, gentlemen, If
Yes.
people wanted to report their milestones to you individually, Land Monkey, where would they go?
I really want to hear about them. And so if you want to reach me and tell me about your milestones or any other geocaching adventures when you're caching safely and caching often, you can find us Land Monkeys on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at LandMonkeyGC. On Facebook, we're Team Land Monkey, and on YouTube, just search for Land Monkey. And if you want to check out our blog, which will soon be updated with photos and stories from our Alaskan geocaching cruise adventure,
Wonderful.
that's landmonkey.blogspot.ca. How about you, Wits End?
I'm right now busy browsing landmonkey.blogspot.ca, but when I'm not, well, I want to hear about your milestone finds as well, because it might just motivate me to get off my big, fat, lazy butt and go find some geocaches myself and hit a milestone. So if you want to send them to me, well, I'm Wits End at geocaching.com, Twitter, Facebook, and many other social media platforms. Chris, even though it says TBC on the notes, let's
Which
go
is
with
what
CNW.
threw me off.
Yeah, well, he's subtle that way.
Yes, exactly.
Mr. CNW?
Look for me, Twitter, CachingNW, Facebook.com/CachingNW, Google Plus, as long as it stays around, that's Google.com/+CachingNW. Or you can head on over to CachingNW.com/hosts, read our bios, and find all the links that we just mentioned. Because
That's right.
we like links.
If
We
I
like
go
links.
if I go to cashingnw.com/hosts and I scroll through the list, am I going to see Chris of the Northwest?
I was just thinking, no. Like, oh, I didn't change that one.
Reminder.
By the time this podcast
Airs.
hits the
or
feed,
hits the feeds, it
hits
will
the
be
feed,
fixed.
it will be updated and fixed.
There you go.
And so for those of you listening to the feed somewhere down the road, and of course for those of you listening here live on the interwebs tonight, well, we want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this here very episode of Caching in the Northwest. Did you know you can be part of this show? Give us a call, won't you? 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, make us some gourmet cupcakes. Thank you, Dad Monkey. Any time of the day or night, and of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Your support helps to keep quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click that Patreon link over on the cashingnw.com website. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2016, by Chris Umfenauer, known as Chris of the Northwest.
Good night, folks. Thanks
Night
for
all.
Cache safely and cache often.
73.
And as I am known to say when I'm on the podcast, we are now clear of the recording.
I didn't say that last week. I kind of referenced it last week.
Oh, let's see.
I made you work harder for the recording this week.
Ooh, we've got a tag in the Q&A.
Yeah, I had to read it closely. So IHAM wants to know new proposed Q&A tag, the FTAS. That's for the
after show.
for the after show.
Okay.
For flagging notes that are specifically meant for after show discussion. I like that idea.
Nice, I like that.
FTAS.
FTAS.
Well, FTAS.
FTAS. FTAS.
I don't know.
Yeah, not FTAS. I get it. Oh, yeah, either way. We'll know what you mean. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's a scrambled
And,
fest.
He also
Hashtag
noticed that there's a severe lack of monkey mustache.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Take another sip. I saw it.
Yeah. There's definitely a monkey mustache. I don't know
Yeah.
what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Monkey, there's monkey mustache. There's a monkey mustache.
How come you sound funny?
This is how I sound with my monkey mustache.
How come you look funny?
That's only so much I can do with a mug. With the mug on the mug.
So, FTAS? FTAS? I don't know. FTAS doesn't sound right.
Hashtag FTAS.
FTAS. 3 hams. So since we're using this now for the after show, it says both my vehicles, a 2007 and 2009, passed the 150,000 kilometer stone
Kilometer stone.
Yeah.
this summer. Does that count? It's only 93,205 miles.
Well, at least
No.
he can do the conversion and knows how fast to drive in the United States.
Yeah, there you some of those people.
Okay, so yeah, there's a backstory there. Since we're in the after show, I'm going to share backstories. So Wits End made that comment. For those who made it to the geez, that's going to be hard to stop saying that. Chris of the Northwest's 50-year anniversary of living celebration.
Yeah, what is that metric? Oh, never mind.
Lots. A metric buttload.
There you go.
That describes my life.
I wasn't sure if it was a buttload or a crap ton, but one of the two.
That's a buttload.
Okay.
It's not quite a crap ton. So for those who were there at that event, I made it down. Mrs. Land Monkey was hoping to make it, but she wasn't feeling well, so she couldn't make it. But I made it down, which was great. So came back from the cruise, unpacked, and got in my car and headed down to Tacoma, because that's how we roll on this show. We're there for each other.
And I was shocked to see you there, to be honest. I'm like, oh wait, there's a monkey here.
There's a monkey here. All right. So, anyways, one of the first things I was talking about when I got there was that I needed to vent a little bit, because as I crossed the border from the Great White North into America, one of the motor vehicles in front of me, bearing license plates from my home province of British Columbia, seemed to be having a challenge with the signs on the road that indicated the posted speed limit, which technically given is a maximum speed that one should drive. However, those speeds are 70 miles per hour. This vehicle was cruising down the I-5 at a whopping speed of 70 kilometers per hour.
That's different than 70 miles per hour.
It's actually a lot different. It's like 35 kilometers an hour different. So yeah, I was not really impressed with that person from my homeland.
Oh, they're just helping the taxes here in Washington State.
That's right.
Can you get a ticket for being stupid? I mean, for driving too slow?
Oh,
You
yes.
actually can. You actually can, yeah.
I know you can in Canada. I didn't know if that was also in
Ignorance
America.
is no excuse.
There you go.
Let's see. IHAM says he's ancient in metric.
That's right.
He is. Hey, and we did mention the cupcakes a few times, and I want to also, while we're sharing about the Chris of the Northwest 50 celebration, that thank you so much, Die Monkey, for the cupcakes, and thank you to Jasmine, who packed some up for me to bring home. I got across the border no problem with the cupcakes.
Even declared them, I heard.
I actually declared the cupcakes, and the border guard possibly rolled his eyes at me and wasn't really too concerned about it, and so
Said go home.
he did say go home, and so I brought the cupcakes home, and Mrs. Land Monkey and Manta Rays really, really enjoyed those cupcakes. So
Cool.
Thank you so much, Die Monkey. You make the best cupcakes ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
internationally acclaimed cupcakes.
Yes. There you go. You should start your own cupcake business. I mean, you've got multiple countries that are that know you for cupcaking. Cupcaking? Is that the proper verb?
Canada loves Die Monkey cupcakes.
B. Pendragon mentioned that you can watch the orcas at Orcas.
Yes.
And yes, we were actually on San Juan in the Orca. On the San Juan Island, I believe.
But Orcas is an individual island, correct?
Orcas is an individual island. Yes.
It's one of the San Juan Islands, yes.
Now,
And
is it named after the whales?
No.
Are the whales named after the island?
No.
Well, then this is very stupid, and stop it.
No, it's not orcas. It's Orcas.
But it's spelled the same way.
I know.
Are they
Why?
both named after the same thing?
I don't know that.
This is confusing.
Yes, it is confusing. It's not orcas, it's orcas.
How about we call them killer whales again?
Okay. At Orcas Island.
And Orcas Island, and then I won't be confused anymore.
Poor whales.
You might be confused anyway.
You're right.
Oh,
It
let's
has
see.
absolutely nothing to do with me being confused.
The name Orcas is a shortened name of Orcasitas, or Juan Vicente de Guemas Padilla Orcasitas y Agallo, second count of Revillagigedo,
Okay,
the
so the
viceroy of
whales,
Mexico.
the whales and the island are named after the same thing.
I'm
They're
sorry,
named
I
after
didn't
some
quite
dude.
catch that name. Can you say it again?
Yes, I can.
Wait,
Oh, you know
for
what
it?
I didn't tell people?
No,
I
what
didn't
did
tell
you not
people that we are officially in.
The after show.
Oh, okay. So now we can start?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Apparently, I'm going to lose CNW to cupcaking in the Northwest.
Nice. I like it, yes. That is definitely.
That is a good thing.
And I like the fact that it's copyright.
Yeah. Very good.
Oh man.
So it's not cupcaking in the Northwester, like the geocaching rap
It's cupcaking in the Northwestka.
in the Northwestic.
Limax is laughing at the fact that Sprouter mentioned the machine in his log.
Well, of course.
I thought that was
Yes,
hilarious.
the machine logs have definitely become a staple of caching in the Northwest.
They have grown to their own, almost as infamous as the machine itself.
It's like a meme.
Mm. A you?
A meme.
A Yum. B Pendragon wants to know: is anyone else going to PAX this weekend, or are you all headed to the fair with Wits End?
PAX?
PAX, is that being Portland?
Oh, wait a minute. No, isn't that it's it's like a gamers fair or something, isn't it? Or convention, I should say, not fair.
Let me define
PAX, I thought it's Seattle, isn't it?
Indie developer.
PAX West. Are you an indie developer? 2016 PAX 10 has been announced. Check
There you
them
go,
out.
Seattle. September 2 to 5.
Hmm.
Sweet.
This PAX. Oh.
Nope, not going because I always forget about it.
Oh,
and it's
besides, the badge availability is sold out.
well, it's usually sold out like months before.
Say moments after they go on sale.
It's one of those things, yeah, which is too bad.
Limax says he's going hiking for gold. I have caches 1848 and 1849 to find.
Nice.
Nice.
He also says geocaching in the Northwest. Annoying border crossing guards since 2000. Oh, that's from 3 M's in a row. Sorry.
Ain't that the truth? Oh.
Iham wants to know, are you going to have to retire your microphone mascot since you are no longer TBC?
Maybe his name is Chris. Who knows?
CNW?
I don't know. I might just keep him around. I kind of like the little microphone mascot. Well, he's big. He's not a true minifig. He's like a double fig.
Like a Fig Newton?
PAX is the Penny Arcade Expo. It's the giant gaming convention.
Oh, okay.
So there will be giants in the town as they go to
There are giants in the
Pardon
sky.
They typically sell out within 2 hours of the tickets going on sale.
That's insane.
And there you go, the Penny Arcade.
That's funny. I didn't know that's
How
what
much
it
do you have to
actually
pay
stood
for a Penny Arcade Expo?
Billions and billions of
Oh,
some atomic
goodness. Sorry.
I thought
Bless
maybe
you.
you
I'm
felt
allergic to the
completely out
after-
of frame there.
Oh, it's only 12 hours away, is PAX.
Oh. I won't be there.
B Pendragon, you better be getting some sleep. Apparently, Limax is dead because the lag is killing him.
We'll miss him.
Let's see.
Extra credit points for B Pendragon if you can come up with a redundant acronym referring to PAX. Because he mentioned the redundant acronym syndrome, RAS. Other examples of PIN for personal identification number, pin
Pin
and
number.
yeah, pin number and ATM machine.
ATM machine. That's always been one of my
Yeah.
least favorites.
And why
Yeah,
on a
it is
drive-up braille on a drive-up ATM is there a braille?
Because they're all the same.
Oh wait, I've driven behind drivers that I think qualify for that. Never mind.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, and thank you, IHAM. I did see that. Gesundheit.
I wish you could have gone to PAX. A game I kickstarted is being demoed.
Oh, fun.
Cool.
I have a couple of bicycles hanging right back here that have kickstands on them.
It's
Oh, that's
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Okay,
It's
never
like
mind.
on a
Yeah,
motorcycle.
I sold my motorcycle. Sorry.
Okay. PAX Expo. There you go. That's a redundant acronym.
Yeah.
Let's see. PAX Penny Arcade.
Yep.
The Penny PAX Expo?
That'll work.
I don't know. Okay. Folks, it's 10 o'clock.
It's bedtime.
I'm going to turn into a pumpkin soon.
We'll miss you.
Well, there we go.
Be aware. Be alert. Pumpkin spice everything is coming.
It's that time of year.
Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice Oreos.
It actually officially started around noon at Tim Hortons. The Tim Hortons near my work. Their menus all changed because they're all electronic menus now. They all changed
To
as I
pumpkin
was
spice.
in line at the Tim Hortons, and boom, up came the pumpkin spice.
Do,
So, yeah.
do they have pumpkin spice Timbits?
Yes, they do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I was hoping you would say no. I used to really like Tim Hortons.
Well, you don't have to get the pumpkin spice Timbits,
Do you
but
have
you
a
know,
choice?
everybody sells out.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, it's just cinnamon, people. That's all that's it.
Shh.
Oh. Or pumpkin spice. Is that a recurring acronym? No.
I don't know, but Three Hands in a Row just mentioned a horrible thing in the Q&A.
Hey, that's just mean. Why would he even say that?
I don't know.
Apparently, he
Wait,
doesn't
which
want
one?
my help later this month.
Oh. Pokemoning?
No.
Pokemon no. That's our philosophy.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice all the things, says IHAM. I thought it was nutmeg. Maybe it's nutmeg and not
I
cinnamon.
think it is nutmeg is what it's supposed to be.
B. Pendragon says, please, Lord, no. No more pumpkin spice. No. Former Sbucks.
S-Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag S-Bucks. All right.
Pumpkin spice all the things.
All right, my
Okay.
friends.
Good night, all. We appreciate all of you.
We do.
Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. You're awesome.
See you next week.
Ciao.